Welcome to the Peaked podcast, where I talk about gender identity ideology and other bad ideas, women's rights, and free speech from a European point of view. Alexa.
Hello.
How nervous do you feel about this conversation? We're both quite nervous, I think.
I feel nervous about quite everything in my life right now. I need to protect myself. I do.
Did you notice what I called this meeting? The Fire TERF movement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. So you have some data?
Well, I was asked to help with, when I got fired 5 weeks ago this week, I was asked to help with some projects of somebody who's gathering stories of fired TERFs, essentially.
Okay.
And there's a lot of us out there.
Okay.
So
everywhere?
Yeah. I mean, most of them are in the UK.
Okay.
Because the UK, it's easier to talk about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, although it's a nightmare right now in the UK, really.
In which sense exactly? I mean,
in the sense that the court made some very important decision and no one will comply.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's like, what the hell is going on here? There was, a legal decision to bring some balance back.
This is a weird revelation, maybe. I've never said this to Helen Joyce, but when I'm feeling like a lack of confidence about what I'm doing, about TERFing specifically, I listen to Helen Joyce's recordings because sometimes it just gives me that pep because she gives me confidence. Yeah. And today I picked the most recent interview that I found, and it was the day of the Supreme Court ruling. Oh. And it was a bit weird because she sounded kind of tired and sort of like maybe she had a flu or something, but she was like, right, that's done now. Sort of done. Right. So we fixed this problem. Let's move on. Now everybody knows what they're supposed to do. And that's not what happened.
No, they actually know what they're supposed to do. That is true. Except they're refusing to do it. Which is outrageous, really. I mean, this is a court decision. So they went in detail in everything. They worked on that thing, Yeah. Courts just don't say things out of the blue for no reason.
Yeah. And what's even worse, I think, is that, well, no, it's not worse. It's just from an international perspective, I don't think it looks good for the UK to not listen to the Supreme Court. And when I said this to some British TERFs, they were saying, oh, but there's loads of regulating bodies that don't implement court decisions. This is just another one. But I was like, right, but this is a huge contentious issue. And a long time ago, I was thinking, oh, we all have to repeal our Gender Recognition Act. And I still think that. But I thought to myself, right, the UK is going to lead the way. It's going to show by example, and everything that they're doing. Okay, maybe some people have criticism about the way that they've gone about, some organizations have gone about it. I don't. I think they're all brilliant. Whatever they do, that's going to be the example for the rest of us, because we're all going through this very embarrassing phase in history where we're doing this completely bizarre thing. And the UK is undoing it in a very reasonable and accountability type way. And we're all going to learn from them. But if the Supreme Court is going to be ignored, that's really bad for the UK's international reputation.
It is bad for the UK because it's more than just a topic. It's a human rights matter.
Yeah.
And the UK being resistant to just go with the court decision on human rights matter is bad. Is really bad. What does it say about women in the West? So because, we're obviously privileged on the planet.
Yeah.
We are white Westerns. So we have rights that some of us in other countries don't even dream of. That's true. But what if those rights are just on paper and that's it?
Yeah, it is very bad.
You're
supposed to have the best pupil that we should all be trying to emulate, but here...
So that says that we look like we're privileged, but maybe we're not that much.
Yeah, it makes a mockery of everything. Is your background in legal stuff, or what is your background?
I went to law university in France, and I also studied political communications.
Okay. What shall we start with? Because we both have stories about being fired, TERFs. That's basically the name of the episodes.
Yes.
We've both been fired. I was fired 5-6 weeks ago. How long ago were you fired?
6 months ago.
6 months ago. So, you're
7.
You're a senior fired TERF. I'm a junior fired TERF. I'm just new to the
Welcome
scene.
to my gang.
What I noticed is that when you talk to people who this has happened to, as individually painful as our stories are, the circumstances are very, very similar.
Yeah? Like what?
Yeah. Well, so some things I noticed were, in my case, yes, you say something, particular colleagues don't like it. Then next thing somebody goes looking at your tweets. And then next thing you go and you do all the proper procedures and you complain to HR or you say, it's my right to say this. Maybe your situation is very different.
It is very different.
It is very different.
Yeah.
Well, almost all the ones I spoke to, it was like this. They objected to a policy or they spoke about an issue. And then some people in the company or in the organization got real upset about it for various personal reasons, whether they have a trans kid at home or something. Like it only takes one person in HR to poison the whole thing. And then they look at the tweets and then there's an outside mob that gets involved and then the pressure mounts. And then if you complain about it through the official channels and say, well, it's actually okay and protected to say these things and I'm in my rights. And then you suddenly have no job anymore by various means, whether you're pushed out or whether they find something. Yeah. So in my case, my case is unusual. And we're here today to sort of compare cases. And also it's misery. And also because we've never really spoken except on Twitter. I remember the first time we were ever in touch, you sent me a photo of a Belgian beer that you were drinking. That was you, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Because I was like, I'm in Belgium. Or you were like, you're in Belgium. Look at this.
I do drink Belgian beers sometime. Could be.
The thing is about France, I've noticed because my family live in France and every time I go there are more Belgian beers or more just like breweries. Because like 10 years ago, there was Grimbergen and it was bored in the supermarket.
We woke up like 10 years ago on beer.
It's really weird, isn't it? Yeah. And now like in a gathering, you'll have not just as many people drinking beer as wine, but more.
Yes, definitely. Because it's cheaper also.
Oh, okay.
Beer is cheaper.
Yeah, for the volume of it, I guess.
Yes, and it's less alcohol also in it.
Right. Did we get in touch before you actually got fired?
I think so. Probably a few years ago because, Turfland is a small galaxy, really. Mm-hmm. It's big because lots of people do agree with us. But it's small because the ones that are actually active and talking and expressing, it's not a lot of us, really.
It's quite small. Yeah, let's start with your story then, because you're the senior fired TERF. And I don't mean that by age.
I don't want to be senior in everything anymore, really.
I try to find it polite.
I'm 35 in my head, okay?
Well, as a 6-month fired TERF, you must have sort of the pain of it and the shock of it, I guess, is over. Like, did you go through stages of grief? Like,
yes.
How are you feeling about it? Are you feeling indignant? How are you feeling about your future prospects?
It was specific because I was a chief of staff for a mayor. So that's a very political thing, really. Yes. In the suburbs of Paris. So that's one point that I can't put aside. Really. But I was not hiding. I never did that. I just, I go about my opinions because they're fucking legal. And it's a discussion. And we should be allowed to have discussions. I never said, put them on the wall or anything like it. I'm a leftist, by the way. So if you
take the mayor was a socialist?
Communist.
Oh.
Yes. Whatever. Let's not go there.
To give me an idea of the size of the village or the town or the city, what kind of
like people.
Okay. And you're in the south somewhere, middle, like
just 10, not even actually 6 kilometers from Paris.
Oh, I see.
Really near close suburbs.
And so it's a dortoir or whatever it's called. It's like one of those places where
but it's not they managed to have an actual city.
Right.
Really. That's a lie.
And there's it has a communist mayor.
It has communist mayors for the past 50 years. really.
Right. Oh,
It's
okay.
one of those cities near in the suburbs of Paris that which are in what we called, it's less and less so, but still call it the red belt.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know about this red belt.
We had a red belt.
And who was voting for communists in the outskirts of Paris?
Everyone, because actually they're doing a great job in the cities.
Are you a communist, Alexa?
I'm a leftist,
Right.
but I always refuse to get a card in any party. Because I want to be free of thinking and I don't want to be aligned on one thing. There are things that I do disagree with the communists, really.
Such
as their planned economy thing.
Yeah, which is their main thing.
Which is their main thing. I do think you have to be more agile, supple with things. You can't, because the world is complicated these days.
Yeah.
So, it's not that easy. And also on religion, I am an atheist.
Yeah.
I just hate religions. I do.
Oh, but that's not related to the communist thing, because the communists are atheists as well.
Well, no.
No?
They're not. No, they're not. I mean, they could be. Some of them are.
What, are they gender ideologues?
No, well, that's the thing. What communism has become, it's not Marx anymore, really. It has changed a lot, and they're quite soft on the religion thing. They will go and be friendly of, covering yourself and everything.
Oh, right.
Which to me, as a feminist, is a complete no-go.
Oh yeah, well this is an issue. Yeah, this is a big problem. We have that.
I must forbid them from covering themselves. It would be this, it would be the same as imposing it. So it's not the point. The point is, can I, in our discourse, validate and agree with that kind of completely misogynistic thing?
I agree
that women should be decent. What is fucking decent exactly?
Modest.
Yes.
I don't plan to be modest.
Filthy from birth to death, just because we are.
But this strain of you go girl, militant, hijabi scares the shit out of me. Like it's not
scary.
They're the scary ones. Or anyone who's got racisé, who's like got a microphone, who's like the decolonial stuff, and so the anti-imperialism stuff. This is a big problem in Belgium.
Exactly. In France as well. Really. And I oppose that. I oppose that. And no, I will not support Hamas.
No.
I'm sorry, but no.
I don't know if have you been to Brussels? I guess you have.
Yeah.
You know that we have a huge contingent of French people who come here to study, and they basically they keep their student politics until well into their 40s, 50s. So we have a lot of that, but like not just in the universities, but friends of mine, I've lost friends over it actually because of the gender thing mainly, but I wouldn't even touch the Islam thing. I think the Israel-Gaza thing broke a lot of people's brains essentially, and it was I wish it had never happened for obvious reasons because it's a horrific thing to happen, but it also caused everyone to go off on a new level of derangement that I don't think
it's like no one is thinking anymore. Really put a bit of distance. It's a long shitty story. Really, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. It's very complicated. If it was simple, it would be solved. Really. Exactly. So, and that is also something that with the communists is quite complicated. And I don't do simple thinking, I guess.
You're a bit of a hard-nosed bitch. I've listened to some of your recordings.
It is. It's pretentious of me to say such a thing. It's not like I think I'm a brain or anything. I'm not.
Well, look, there is something, and I'd love to know what this is. And I think I'm getting closer to figuring it out. What is it about us, the people who saw this gender shit and were like, no. And then everyone else who we thought we knew and we thought was smart and who did go along with it. So there is an answer to that question. And I think it has a lot to do with social identity. And maybe let's not try and go into it here because it's a long conversation and we want to talk about being fired TERFs. But I think one day we will have the answer. How is it that I feel like as we were all given like in Jonestown, like a poisoned Kool-Aid, and our cups were missed and we didn't get any poison and everyone like dropped around us and we were left standing and going, what happened to all of you?
And that's also the thing about being fired. It feels like red pill, blue pill. And I don't want to get paranoid and see plots everywhere. And I don't want to be that person.
I don't think there's plots. I think it's boring. It's boring conformism.
I know. Well, I think it's liberalism,
Okay.
Individuals. And we are spoiled in the West.
We are spoiled. I agree with you. But listen, you broke two shibboleths of the left. You call yourself a leftist, but you can't be because you've gone against Palestinianism then. I don't say what I've no
Not
idea.
Palestinianism.
Hamasism.
Yes.
Hamasism.
Yes.
And also
anti-Semitism as either. No more than I can stand racism or, it's a no.
Yeah.
I don't go there.
So you've been kicked out of your lefty.
Well, in France now, what I hear is I'm supposed to be a Nazi.
Yes, you're a Nazi now.
I'm a Nazi, I'm part of a genocidal thing that has no victim, really, because name one fucking trans person who has been killed by TERFs. Really, please do.
Are you part of a transnational anti-gender movement also? Because I'm the ringleader of that in Brussels.
More or less, because I'm always finding it hard to belong to any movement or any party.
Because, there's this whole academic theory of an anti-gender movement that is run by Viktor Orban in the Vatican, and we are in it. But you're going to find yourself put in there.
Yeah, they're putting me in the fascist, Nazi, alt-right, whatever you want to call it thing, which I'm not in, by the way. Not in.
So when you say you're leftist or lefty or left wing, what are the things? Sorry, because I'm just very curious. What do you mean by that then? If you're not against it, because the number one thing for lefties these days seems to me gender shit and Hamasism and hijabis.
That's the thing. They are not the left.
Yeah.
And the basis of principle, it's not that. In France, at least, I can't, of course, talk about everything everywhere on the planet. In France, the left was social rights and reducing religion to your private life.
Mm-hmm.
Social security, healthcare, all that shit, by sharing our money all together, structuring a very strong state that could make sure that individuals are protected. And they are protected because we are a large group. So you need to protect the group in order to protect individuals. That's what my left is, really.
It's a very French society in general is quite welfare-y and social,
yes.
I think, no?
Yes, yeah. It is. It is. And we built that and it was hard and it was long, and it was difficult.
But now, what has been
now the liberals are destroying all that shit. And I do disagree with that because I'm a leftist. Because I have seen, not only for myself, but for tons of people, how important it is to have that state protect us, really. Like you're unemployed, we have more rights than others do. If you get sick, you're not dying because you can't afford healthcare. There's no way. And we have justice system and we have schools and we have airports and we have roads and we have everything because that is our shared money.
And so what is the left now that you are against? What is the focus on this identitarianism, I guess?
Yes. Well, that's the, rationalist. I think the left is dying because they've decided that the individuals are more important than the group, which is the exact opposite of what the left should do. Mm-hmm. That Deleuze said something like, I never translated it, so it's going to be wrong. But if you're a right wing, then you will consider yourself, then your family, then your community, then your party, then your country. And being left is the exact opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm left. So I think we should protect the group because it's a sound way to protect individuals.
And so in relation to women's rights, then we're referring here to the fact that we might place the individual desires of a man who sees himself internally and externally as a woman and put his interests over the rights of women and girls. Is that sort of
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, being a woman is not an identity. It's not a feeling.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. And based on that fact, we're treated like shit, basically.
Were you ever in the trans camp? Like, were you ever, trans women are women?
I was like, the first time I heard about that was probably 15 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I was like, that's an interesting question, actually. Because that is also feminism. We question things all the time, really. We question things. That's how we make progress. It's always been like that. We question quite everything. So, if you put a question on the map, I will look at it. Really.
But is it true that is it really true? Because I hear a lot of people, and I talk about it as well, talking about we have to be able to have debates. But it's actually really hard to have debates. It's really hard to be questioned and to be confronted. It's actually a lot harder than people make it out to be. So are you saying that 20, 30 years ago, when you were in your student days or whatever, that you were open to far right ideas, and then discussing them, or was it shut it down? Because that's all I see now.
Yes, super.
You see, they just
far right ideas because I was raped by in a far right family.
Right.
So my being a leftist right now, and for the past, I don't even recall when, has nothing to do with any kind of chance, really. I mean, I know what I'm talking about when we talk far right.
But when people when you got fired or when you get, called a Nazi or whatever, people are putting you in that same bucket as a far right person.
Yeah.
And so they're rejecting
They're not even listening to what we're saying, actually. So there is no debate. Because to debate requires to listen to what is being said, to accept, to listen, really, give some consideration to the other side's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is difficult.
And you can see that the most important thing for the trans activists is actually to make sure we don't get hurt by other people.
I mean, they label you Nazi as soon as you say, wait a minute, what you mean? If you say, what the fuck do you mean? That's weird. Then you get to be a Nazi immediately. So there is no discussion. There is no debate. Nothing like that. Really, we just get set aside with a nice label, Nazi, whatever. And they get to say, we should all get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's be kind.
And so you were a civil servant, you were fonctionnaire.
No. It was a contract. Yeah.
It was a particular political post that you had.
Chief of staff is political in the way that you have to make sure that the agenda is set.
Right. But your employer was the commune or the
Yes.
It was the
Yes.
right.
Yes.
It wasn't this woman, the
No.
communist.
No, legally it was the city.
So the city had you on a contract, and so it didn't matter what got elected, you would be working for.
Oh, no. It depends. No. There is one chief of staff per mayor or per rep.
So you knowingly knew you were going to be working for this communist lady.
Yeah, I actually, sent my resume and everything.
Okay.
Because she was doing a great job. I checked.
Yeah.
Before I applied.
What were some of the things she was
saying for that job? And she knew I was a feminist, and she knew I'm not a communist.
Okay.
It was very clear.
And what had you done before that? Also politically aligned jobs or?
Communication mainly, but I was abroad. I was in Portugal a lot, and I'm not someone you can check into an Excel sheet and cross things, and I'm a bit of a weirdo professional.
Okay.
I
All right.
just do
Patchwork.
yes, and I'm very curious, so I don't want to limit myself.
Well, this is great because you're going to have to be very inventive to figure out another job now. So, all right. So let me get the timeline straight. So how long ago did you get that job for this lady?
It was a year and a half. It was a 2 years fixed-term contract.
Okay. And right. So you were paid by the city and then you go working for her. And so she has a bunch of people and you're managing them, I guess.
I'm, being chief of staff in a 20,000 people city is managing each and every shit that goes through the fan, really.
Okay.
And there is a lot.
Okay.
Happens a lot. The shit goes through the fan quite every day.
Right.
So you have to manage that.
Give me an example of what
that she looks good. She needs to look good.
Okay. So like an example, like I'm annoyed and I come with my friends to the commune and I say, or the mairie, and I say there's too much like des jeunes devant ma maison. Like, and I'm annoyed about how dirty it is and blah, blah, blah. And I write to the commune and then it goes, you're not the direct contact, but it gets to you. And then they sort through
or not. Sometimes it's through the services and sometimes it gets directly in my office because, my email was quite public. It's not hidden in any way by a professional, of course. So like we had a woman murdered by her husband. Needless to say, the chief of staff is going to manage everything.
In terms of media and all that stuff? Or in terms of...
Also help the family
be
there, monitor everything, know everything that's been happening, control the words in the story. It's like, it's basically a 70 hours a week job,
Okay. It was hardcore.
It is.
And did you like it?
I did. It is hardcore, but I did like it because, a city is the level and the scale in which you can do something for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And actually, do something that will make their life better, even slightly. But, when you fix a new price for, I don't know, lunches at school for kids, and you make sure that the poor families are served in that because the kids, you don't know if they're eating that much at home. Mm-hmm. When you make sure that the library is free, so that culture is ready and there for everyone. When you make sure that when you participate in a meeting to put more green plants and, vegetables in the city, it is changing life.
But you also have to, balance who you promise what to also. So that's very difficult. Yeah. You can't give all the money to everyone. So you're right. No.
You have to make sure it's fair, it's efficient. And it is public money, so you have to be cautious with everything. You can't just spend money like that. Mm-hmm. You have to be very responsible in there.
Right. And so for people who are outside France and outside Belgium who don't have this, I guess it's in the English-speaking world, it's like the town hall, it's the central administration of a particular region or whatever. In Belgium, they're called the commune, the gemeenschap.
Yes.
And then, they're called the commune in French? Okay. Yes. All right. And it's attached to the mairie. It's the mairie. It's attached to the mairie. So even the tiniest little no-name village in France, you'll have a mairie. And there's a French flag hanging outside, like a grassy old building. Yeah. Okay. So yours wasn't a grassy old building. It was a fairly established place in a city of 20,000. So I guess you had like a good relationship with your boss.
Yeah.
Did you talk about politics?
Well,
in terms of course.
And we knew we did not agree on everything.
And what kind of things did you not agree on?
Many things, like, for example, the religion thing.
Okay.
But in the end, she's the boss. So, I don't make decisions. I make sure the decisions are followed through.
But when you said the religion thing, was it all abstract or was it about like women wearing hijabs to work in the mairie type? Very.
Oh, no, in the mairie, it's the law. They can't. There's no way. There's a national law, We're not a federal country, so the law is the law, and that's it. And she was very respectful of the law.
And in that, but in your day-to-day work, how did the religion thing manifest then?
Well, she would make sure to maintain a very strong relationship with all religious communities.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually doesn't believe that covering yourself is treating women differently. One time she said something, and I was like, I did not reply. I didn't say anything, but I thought, what the fuck? She says, I love my femininity. And I was like, what is it? What is femininity? What is that, really? Femininity is patriarchy, bottom line.
What did she mean by it?
Makeup.
Okay.
Being feminine, really.
But am I right in thinking that in French, I've noticed this before, the words femme and féminine and féminité, they're more closely related than our English words.
I think people don't mind because they don't even go there in understanding what it means.
But like féminin, du sexe féminin, you're literally saying the feminine sex, whereas you would say the female sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's féminité and être féminine.
Yeah.
Is supposedly the same. It's like it's a natural thing for women. So no one is really questioning what femininity is.
Right. We don't have that issue in the English language as much, I think. And I realized that when I started TERF and I was like, hey, to the French-speaking TERFs in Belgium, let's make T-shirts that say femelle, adulte, humain, or whatever. And they were like, no, femelle is like farm animals.
Yes, exactly. And here too, femelle is farm animals. But I think we should have that conversation. We're females.
Yeah.
We're females. And in France, it's like, you're not a cow. I know I'm not a cow. Thank you.
But they took all our other words. So this is what we're left with, like farm animal language. But that's literally what we are. Yeah.
But the trans thing is actually reducing us to being farm animals.
Yeah.
Because we're people with ovaries. We're menstruating people. We're birthing people. We're not even breastfeeding people because you can't say breast anymore. You have to say chest.
Breast.
We're chest feeding people. So we are farm animals in there.
Mm-hmm.
There is no consideration of the fact that we are a class.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also my left thing, because I think of the world in a matter of classes, really. I do. Which is left.
Yeah, it is. Class consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, everyone's class conscious because the poshest, fanciest aristos, they're like class conscious also very much, but they're not.
Of course they are. Of course they are, but they want to keep it the way it is.
But these left people who hate us now are the elite class in cultural terms, and is like in the administration and in politics and in media and all this stuff.
Well, they're the educated class.
They're the educated class. And in a knowledge economy, or in the economy, in the industries that we have now and in the world that we live in now, they are the elites. They are the cultural elites. And they don't like it and they would reject that. But that's what they are.
They are. Definitely. And they're all white, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think this whole pretending to believe in trans stuff is a signifier of your elite status and nothing more. Because if you go to a poor place, like I have half my family in France live in very fancy, nice place and have money, or at least they move in those circles. And then there's another branch of the family who are just working class construction workers and stuff.
They have real problems to deal with.
They have real problems. They also have a nice life, but they're also just like, oh no, they don't have to go along. They don't have to swear these oaths to certain...
The working class is definitely with us, I think.
Definitely.
Because wondering what your identity is, it's a bourgeois problem, for Christ's sake.
It really is.
It is a bourgeois problem. It's not going to feed anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to pay for your bills. It's not going to make sure that your kids have a proper school to go to.
Let them eat pronouns, I always think,
I like that.
Let me tell you a very quick story. One of the women that I was talking to last week, she got turned down to foster a child because of her being a TERF. So she was going through the admission process and they got...
Freaking believable.
That's unreal. So she was going through the process and they want to check out that she's a good person and all that stuff. And then there was a part that came to identity. And when they said, they were trying to figure out, which is a normal thing to do, how do you feel about different races, different religions? They want to know, are we going to hand the kid over to a racist person?
Of course not.
Of course not. And so when they said stuff about LGBTIQ, and she said, well, I'm quite happy that the courts have ruled that Keira Bell, who you probably know, Keira Bell, who sued the Tavistock, I think, for transitioning her as a child when she wasn't competent. She said, I'm glad that court case has been settled because I think it raised important questions and it's good that they've come to this conclusion. And it was something quite neutral like that. And her assessment was cancelled and she was dropped and there was no more possibility to foster a child.
That's freaking believable, really.
But listen to this. So this is the point. The people who dropped her application are exposed, this was in Scotland, to the most depraved situations and the most neglected children. This is Scotland with poor children who need foster carers. So they are very aware. So I used to think, people just aren't aware. People who were fancy and elite and went to university, they're not like those of us who grew up very poor and they don't know what goes on when you're very poor. And so they're not exposed to the reality of life when there's no money to go around and you've no power and all that stuff. But these women who dropped this woman from the foster care program, they are exposed to the most neglected kids in the most deprived households or non-households, homeless, kids of drug addicts, all that stuff. So it's not like they don't know. And yet they had to do this trans women or women thing. And as a result of this woman's comments, she was dropped. If they realize that
who was being raped and starved in that context rather than send them to a reasonable woman who says women are women, really.
Right. But it raised an important point, I think. Those women, it's not that they're not aware what goes on. They're more aware than any of us what goes on when you don't protect girls and children and they don't care. But because they're all university educated social workers, the woman said that the ideology has spread so thoroughly through the social care sector in Scotland. And it made me realize that, it's not that they're not aware of real world problems. They're aware, but their class identity is so strong.
And I think they're doing that in good faith, actually. I think they are convinced. As much as we are.
You'd have to be, wouldn't you? Because what the fuck?
We have to be. And, those women, they do know what they're looking at when they're looking at a trans person who says they're women. They do know. They're looking at males. No one is ignoring that, really. And they're choosing to ignore it.
Yeah, they have to be.
I've tested that at the gym, actually, because I wanted to understand how that works. So there are a couple of trans people at the gym where I go, which is no problem. They have the right to, exercise. I'm fine with that. It's not the point, They're not talking to me. They're not endangering me in any way. So I'm good, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking at them because, of course, in my situation, there's like a grunge that I'm holding.
A grudge?
Sorry, yeah.
Grunge is a style of music.
Sorry. I like grunge a bit too because I was born in...
There is also a grunge.
Yeah, I was a teenager in the 90s, so that's normal. But yeah, of course, I'm frustrated, so... And I thought, okay, let's try that. Let's try to see a woman. Let's try to shut that inner thing down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And try to see a woman. And I was unable to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was so what I wasn't able to do, to imagine, not to do, but to imagine, was to ignore the inner voice. Like, you're wrong. I'm not listening to you. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose to ignore because I'm not evil. I don't want to be evil. I'm not a fascist. So if you say that you're this, then I have to believe you. I can't.
Process of self-denazification. Yes.
That's exactly. And that's the thing that is so perverted on an intellectual point of view, is that what you know, really know, you shut it down. All those intellectuals which you were talking about, they have convinced themselves, they have been convinced that what they know, they ignore. It's Orwellian, really.
Oh, hold on. Did you ever do that about anything else? Because this is a question I have for myself. Did I ever do that about anything else? Because if you can, you're shaking your head, well, have you thought about it?
No, never.
You should think about it because you, well, I maybe
never
have.
No, I haven't really.
Right. Well, I have a perfect example. Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring up COVID because I hate talking about it. But I was a full-on COVID person. I did all the things. I followed all the rules, took all the vaccines. I did, and I would do it again. So don't get me wrong.
Yeah, me too.
But there was all this stuff that people were going nuts about that I couldn't. And I had close friends who were like, "Ma, vous êtes malade ou quoi? Les enfants avec la bouche," like they couldn't see their face. Trying to teach language without being able to see the kid's face. So she was a teacher. This particular woman,
which is a valid point, by the way.
A very valid point. And she was just like, you know, but that was her strongest point. I suppose I bring that up first because it was her strongest point. But in general, she was like going to the marches. And this was her thing that she recognized obviously worked really well on people because it was a very good point. But she was just like, stop it. You know the way there was a strain of militant leftists in France that was anti-COVID. We didn't have that in other countries. I don't know if you noticed, but there was not.
I think being French is disagreeing.
Yes. Yeah.
We're just like that culturally. Being French is like, I'm not going to agree with you anyways.
Yeah, this is the first time I ever saw a bunch of French people have a dinner at a table. I didn't speak French. I thought they were all fighting. I came down the stairs and I was like, oh my God, is everything okay? Like,
we're not fighting, we're arguing.
Yeah, and having fun.
We are arguing. That's it.
Well, so that created this strain of leftist anti-vax COVID stuff that wasn't very present in other countries. I'm not saying it wasn't present at all, but it was like the people who were turned up to these marches were crazies on the right and then very militant lefty intellectual types who were like, taking a stand,
Yes.
And so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So we had this, and I remember just being like, you know what? They're right on this. Like, I went to a restaurant a couple of times where I had to wear my mask as I walked to the bathroom and then take it off as I sat down. Remember all this madness?
Yeah.
And I knew it was dumb as fuck. I knew it wasn't real, but I did it because, and I often think to myself, why did I do it? So this is we're on the other side now. We're just going, why are they doing this? This is crazy. What difference does it make to put your mask on as you go to the bathroom and then take it off as you sit back down in a restaurant with 100 people in it? I was doing it, I think, because there was a system that needed to be maintained, regardless of its stupid manifestations that came up through the cracks that, whatever. These people in government, they don't know what they're doing because this never happened before. So they're trying out something. So the best thing I can do is to just do the thing.
I was doing everything thinking, I have no clue about viruses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm talking about. And at first, we had that crazy professor.
Rahul. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, he said, well, that's just a flu. And I went, okay, that's a professor. So, I have to trust those people because they know what they're talking about. And then in weeks, I understood, like everyone else, that the guy was out of his mind. But it also led me to think, okay, why am I doing that exactly as you?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I have no clue about viruses. They're telling me to do this. I know, I'm quite sure at least, it's going to be temporary. But right now, again, as a French woman, you have to protect the group in order to be able to protect the individual.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I'm going to comply because we need to protect the structure.
But a lot of bad things happened because of lockdowns.
Of course.
And people were pointing those things out to us. And we were like, la, 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 because the system, it must hold.
It was
can't
probably a
break
great time also, it was a lot of, mayhem, really.
It was mayhem. But do you recognize any parallels now when you're saying to someone, listen, this is going to lead to men and women's prisons? Is that not kind of similar?
We might sound like paranoid, old crazy women. I understand. Except when the data becomes massive. That Finnish study from last week, I believe, or 2 weeks maybe. That's some serious data. And especially in Finland, they went far on transition and stuff.
Yes. I mean, the woman the lead author was the gender clinic woman.
Yes, she was like pro thing,
Yeah.
Like,
and she follows evidence.
Who backed, it's like the thing that makes me really questioning, and it was not the case in COVID. We had so little data. We didn't know actually what we were facing. So doubts are normal. And of course, like kids with the mask and everything, of course, there is an impact. Teenagers who were stuck in their bedroom with only screens. Yes, there is a mental health problem now.
And the men who tuned out because there was
consequences of all that. It's obvious. So no, it was not perfect management. Of course. What are you going to do? I mean, do you want to be prime minister of a country in those times? I don't really.
Right. But let me draw a parallel so I'm just being very charitable because I would like to still continue to like these people who don't feel the same way about this as I do. So when I'm talking to people like that, it happened yesterday. I was talking to a friend and I said, the Supreme Court ruling, it wasn't enforced. And she's English and she's just like, la, 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 she won't. And she said, yeah, but it is because I saw the trans girls were kicked out of Scouts. And the word trans girls just absolutely
it's a magic word. It's a shut up thing.
Yeah. And also the fact that she could have said kids who identify as trans or whatever, but she said trans girls, which led me to believe she's all in, she's masking
exactly
in the classroom.
Because if you say children who have various identifications, you're not saying trans girls.
Yeah. So she endorsed it in that very small sentence. But I just say to myself, when I look at her, rather than getting upset about it and saying to her, listen, do you know you're perpetuating this fucking nonsense? I think of her as me during COVID when I said, look, gender is complicated. We don't really know what's going on. I refuse to look at the data you're presenting to me because this is what the system is and we need to maintain order.
I can understand that. And I do understand that we might sound crazy and paranoid sometimes. Really, because in truth, in the everyday life, there is no actual daily basis danger, that manifests in, I don't know, in the streets or whatever, in the gym. Those people are not posing any threat to me right now.
To you.
To me. Except
right now.
I do not know if they would. Because there is data.
But also, it's not about you. It's about everyone.
Because it's not about me. They would not pose a threat to me also because I'm a 52 years old woman.
Yeah.
Come at me. Please do. I'm going to grab you by the balls, darling. I'm sorry, but I know where to hit.
And it's also what really bugs me about it is this, it's so few people and there's only 1-2 trans identifying people at your gym. It's yes, when the car was invented and the first person flew out the front window in an accident because they had no seatbelt. And then they said, you know what we should do is put some seatbelts in these machines. That's because people are going to die. And what if somebody said, but it's only been one person out of 10? Out of 100, it's only one person. It's yeah, but one day it's going to be more. And here we have a situation where, well, let's also not go too deep into this, but there are more and more men churning out because of the exposure to
fucking AGPs.
Very, very strong manipulative content online that's scratching that itch of men who would otherwise never start cross-dressing in the first place.
And to tell you the truth, it's not even about danger or not. really. I feel I am insulted as a woman. It is humiliating to me, really, on a personal point of view, even though I have been privileged in my life, being a Westerner, white, in Paris.
Yes.
I have been through shit, as any of us have. And this is humiliating. You are telling me that you can put on a woman face just like that, and that makes you a woman? For Christ's sake.
And it's the act of femininity that we've always tried to sort of move away from is the thing that makes you a woman. That's just
And yes, my hair is long. And yes, I sometimes put makeup on. And yes, I do my nails. But that doesn't make me a woman. Never has, never will. Never has.
And also, it strikes me from talking to you that you might be principled, and just the fact that it's not true is also...
Yeah, it's a lie.
It's a total lie.
It's a lie. It's a lie. I can't. So that's maybe a common trait amongst TERFs. We just can't stand the lie.
I can't cope with it.
I can't stand the lie.
I'm totally fine for people to say, yeah, this isn't real, but we're going to do this because it makes us feel better. And I say, okay, you
please tell the truth.
Yeah, just say it's like, you don't
tell the truth. Do not lie. No, trans women are not women. And you know it. I know it. Everybody fucking knows it. It's a lie. And I have a really huge problem with the lying.
Right.
And I'm saying that as a French woman. So imagine,
Yeah.
We do lie.
And this is why I was convinced that this is never going to fly in France, because French people are going to end up talking about this around the dinner table and they're writing a conclusion. Sorry?
It flies because France is also quite a I can't say that word in English. Why?
Misogynistic.
Yes, I don't know why I can't say that in English. Society and culture.
But in France, because you've got this culture of always arguing with each other and coming to these conclusions about things, does it feel then like a very foreign imposition to have this suddenly in your culture, or does it feel homegrown in any way because it's linked to postmodern sort of Foucault shit à la base?
I find it very American.
Yeah.
I find it really American. But of course it is, but rooted in American culture. And we are, the colonization nowadays is cultural. The United States have taken over the world, really. At least the whole West is into that. We'll go on Netflix and Prime. We have iPhones. We eat McDonald's.
Yeah.
We have pizza, American version of it.
You drink beer instead of wine.
Which is come on. Anyways. But, and my generation, we watched Sex and the City and Friends.
Yeah. And
those were some cultural foundations also. So it is American, really. And being an American is in their constitution. It's individual rights. It's not collective rights. So that's also very worrying in a larger scale, because in France, we have been working on collective rights, as I was saying.
Yeah.
And all
this is a new thing again. Yeah.
Was destroying what we had, really.
Yeah.
And which was good because, in the United States, if you have diabetes, you're going to die unless you're a millionaire,
It's funny, whenever my boyfriend calls his French family, and or actually when we're down there or whatever, there's so much talk of allocation, subvention.
You get LRT.
But it makes up a chunk of your life. I'm not saying you personally, but the allocation and the this thing and the this thing and the this thing. It's it's...
Yeah, but
they have all these old terms and acronyms.
We do with our shared money.
Yeah.
It's until now, because it's really falling down, really. And it's very scary. But this was the way since 1936, really. We decided to manage things. Everyone is going to be protected by everyone.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about American cultural imperialism. We hate the lie. When did the lie start to sneak into your life in a profession, or maybe in a personal and then a professional capacity? Like you were aware of this for a long time?
Yeah, that was, it was actually on social media at first. When I started to see posts that would say trans women are even more women than you girls will be.
Sure, Dave.
And that's when I started to feel insulted because what I saw was Barbies, dolls, as they call them now, openly actually protect the dolls,
Mhm.
And it was like, I'm not a doll. We're not dolls. That's like, no, no. And when they started to talk about women with penises, also, like, we don't get raped by women with penises. We get raped by men.
And was this stuff you were seeing online in French circles or more abroad? Like,
At first, it was a lot of American stuff. And
when
then
did you?
French.
What was the first thing in France? Was it the famille de planning?
Yeah. Oh my God, that was an art.
Can tell us about what?
Really. And I do not believe in God, so for me to say that. That's, when I was 17 years old, I had an abortion and no one knew about it in my family. I did not want my family to know about it. So I went to the planning. And they were the one helping me getting that abortion because I was underage. It was not that easy. You had to be tricky with it at that time. And seeing now the planning saying that men can get pregnant. And I was like, you must be fucking kidding me. That's nonsense. I mean, it's fine that you help women, whatever they identify as with, or it's okay. But you do not get to tell me that men can get pregnant. They can't. That's not a thing. And in that same stream, there was also, and that's really outrageous, that sex mutilations could be a cultural choice, and you should not judge that because it's racist to do so. And that was like, are you serious? And then they started to talk about sex work.
In the plannings also?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, this is like, it's dystopian, really. It's like, where's Margaret Atwood?
What do you think caused the ideological capture of the family planning system in general? Because one of the explanations here and elsewhere is that because they rely on subvention or like 2-year long like funding projects, they have to align with the whatever the state or government mandated sort of equality policies, blah, blah, blah. So then they end up like hiring or assigning diversity crap to one of their staff, and then it just goes from there. Like, what's your explanation?
I think it's actually the contrary. They hired intellectuals, and the intellectuals pushed the agenda.
Like intellectuals who are specialized in gender?
It was very strong and brilliant, as a matter of fact, because it worked. Lobbying operation.
From like, you mean gender activists in the family planning structures or in the government that gave the grants?
Well, they started within the family planning structure.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that I might be wrong. I don't, because I don't think I have any truth. I detain any truth. All I'm trying to stick to is facts, not truth, because truth is a religious concept.
Okay.
I don't do religion.
Okay.
Truth is in the Bible. It's not the same thing as in the Torah or, in the Quran. Truth is variable, really.
But the facts are there.
But the facts, they're not.
And so that was something that you saw happening from the inside of this very old and respected women's rights organization.
And an age you're in so important, by the way, And there are some, because the Planned Parenthood in France is structures into branches, local branches. It's a federation of local branches, really. And some local branches are very resistant to the trans and queer thing.
Yeah.
And it's a hard fight for them.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's really difficult. There are a few that are not going with that shit.
Right. But then it's also a matter of generational turnover, probably. That eventually will outweigh the light.
Because all those youngsters and their pink hair, and I don't like pink, so that's a judgment for me. I'm sorry.
I don't like the ones with blue hair either.
Yeah, whatever. If you have to stand out and exist in such a way, I would say you're weak, really.
Attention starved.
Exactly. And that's also the individual culture. You have to exist individually. Except it's not about any of us. It's not. I'm not the topic. You're not the topic. None of us are. On a personal point of view, it's not the freaking point.
But it's funny because we have a lot of allies in the sort of conservative, right-wing, libertarian desire. But yeah, that's a disaster politically. But I mean, there are libertarians who will say, do whatever the hell you want.
Except get an abortion. Did you notice?
But libertarians don't say that. Libertarians are like,
yes,
do whatever
look at Milei. Look at Milei in Argentina. Is the top libertarian. There is anti any rights for women. Abortion, pill, whatever. Yes. Strongly. Very strongly. Look at the libertarians out there, the one in power. Really, the ones in power. They will not go for any rights for us. Really. They will still control our bodies very strongly, except they need to keep us in that little box. So a woman is a woman because you cannot control something that you can define. So to them, it's about control.
I think things are going to get very ugly in the low birth rates, low fertility age.
Oh, yeah. Why would you want to have a kid in this world, really?
Well, I mean, a lot of the reason why abortion became such a big part of feminist activism is because it suited the funders to make it so, because there were too many babies. But now that there aren't enough babies, they're going to go after, well,
century.
Yes, probably surrogacy transfer from poor women to rich women.
That's another topic, That's another topic. Because for the queers, surrogacy is perfectly acceptable, of course, as prostitution is. As any exploitation of our bodies, really.
Yeah.
It's interesting because they call themselves anti-capitalistic.
I know. This is the weirdest thing.
Yeah. And they're ready to sell us for very low rate, by the way.
The most extreme level of commodification that you can imagine. Like the most immoral.
Municipal.
Well, so we haven't even talked yet about either of our firings, but so let's try and move on to it. Maybe we're going to have to do a 2-part series on this, but let's maybe move on to, I want to know, at what point did this big lie of trans nonsense enter into your professional life? When did it come up?
It's weird because I had this job and I was cautious about the way I explained things. I was cautious in the words I chose. And I was really talking about sex class. I was not talking about individuals. And I was always making sure to say that I am not rooting for anyone to be deprived of their fundamental rights in any way, and that it was not the point. But I did not hide. And the best argument I had in that subject, and when I had the job, was sports.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we were not physically equal. And that is also a fact. We're not the same. That's it. There is no discussion on this. And there is nothing we can do to be the same on the physical point of view. We're not. Which, by the way, makes sure that as a species, we will survive. Mm-hmm. We're not the same. It's just the way it is. And So I was not hiding in any way. And what happened was that suddenly on Twitter, since I'm old, I'm not going to call it X.
You don't have to change that.
Stick with Twitter because I like it better, really.
Okay.
That was, my account was open, public. Now it's closed, really. And I tweeted something about a person who changed their legal identity. And, on the IDs in France, there's the mention of sex, not gender. There is a
It is SEXE.
Exact. So, and I tweeted that person has never been, is not going to be.
But
ever.
this person was in your commune.
No, not even. No,
Right. So that's what I didn't understand. I thought it was
just a basic Twitter thing that I retweeted the picture of the new ID and said
I
that
thought it was in your administration.
No, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. Within my job, there were a few trans people in the public, not in the administration, in the public. And I never even misgendered anyone.
Right.
Because it's the law. And because it was my job. And because I had obligations by contract. And that, that's what I do. I give my word, I stand by it. Which is normal, it's just my work. But outside of my work, I can express myself. And which I did on Twitter by saying that, so this is a picture of the new idea. And I tweeted, you're not a woman. You're never going to be a woman. No, I never said woman. I said feminine sex. I tweeted, vous n'êtes pas, vous n'avez jamais été, et vous ne serez jamais de sexe féminin. So for the non-French speaking people, it's you've never been, you are not, and you never will be of the feminine sex. And that's started it because there was this crazy guy. Really, I think he has a problem. I'm sorry. I think he has a problem in his mind, really. I'm not alone to think that, really. That started a chase on me.
On Twitter.
Yes, and demanded that I get fired, really. So I don't know how to put that in English. Like
put her somewhere else or?
Yeah, like get control over her.
Oh.
Talking about me, of course.
But hold on, was this a guy who is in your municipality or anything?
No, that's just a random guy who was once, years ago, the president of an AIDS support group, ACT UP.
He's an older guy. Oh, one of these ACT UP assholes. Okay.
Yes, ACT UP.
Yeah.
Nice wording.
Well, because militants in Paris are very hardcore, and the ones from the AIDS part and the trans part, they're.
But when I was a young woman, in the 90s, ACT UP was a great thing.
Yeah,
it was the good guys.
It was, yeah. It used to be.
For Christ's sake, and I rooted for them.
Of course. That's not what they are now.
Made a lot of work against homophobia as well. They, it was because, of course, the topic back then was it's a gay sickness, which is not, but it's not, of course. But at the time, it was a lot of homophobia as well in the AIDS topic, in the AIDS subject. So there were the good guys back then. Well, that guy decided that my head was going to be cut off.
And so he's an older gentleman then, I assume?
No, he's about my age, probably.
Okay,
it's about my generation, probably.
Right. And he demanded, does he identify as all?
My former boss, he tagged her and the party and a bunch of people.
I want to know his name. Don't say it here. And what?
I got fired within 3 days.
Jesus. But hold on, which policy did you break?
None.
What was the grounds then? You don't like your tweets?
I didn't break any policy.
So, right. So you are at your rights to go to a lawyer, but you didn't. Okay.
But no, I did talk to a lawyer, and just to file a complaint, it would have been a few €1,000.
Right. Hold on. Back up. Let's go back up a little bit. This guy, if you don't want to say his name right now, I would like to know his name because he's probably one of the same guys who goes after me.
Jérôme Martin.
Jérôme Martin. He doesn't pretend to be a woman.
No.
Okay. And so he's just like, is he the only one, or was there a pylon?
Well, the pylon was trans people then, because actually people from cities, not one person from that city, actually, really, neighbor cities, sent her messages saying that she had to get rid of me. Her chief of staff was deemed transphobic.
And what did your boss think of "Vous ne serez jamais une femme"? Like, what does she think about that statement?
You know what we're talking about the fact that you shut up the voice?
Yeah.
She did exactly that. She obeyed. She complied. She did not think about the subject. She refused to think about it, to talk about it. She refused the conversation. Most of them do. You do not oppose. You do not protest. You comply. Just like you posted that T-shirt. Why are you being so transphobic when you could
Oh, yeah. Why be transphobic when you could just be quiet? Yeah, that's it.
be quiet.
But hold on, just a technical question here. So the big question as well is like, why are these gay guys so fucking fired up about this trans shit? I know that ACT UP in Paris and a lot of those back in the day, around 2010, the organizational, things were like gay men were getting their rights and things were a bit better, but the trans women became a target of subsidies and stuff because the high HIV rates were quite high. So I know that a lot of gay rights organizations were getting money on the basis of the inclusion of trans women because of all these Peruvian transsexual female prostitutes and stuff. Is that something to maybe why he's such a dickhead about this, or is there other reasons?
So he's a teacher.
Right.
So in high school.
He just went crazy. He was just like, you.
No, well, he does that with, he tried it with multiple people, actually, not just me.
Right.
But he made it, it's really easy to have a chief of staff fired.
Okay.
Because the position, it takes 10 seconds, really. Really.
What do you mean 10 seconds?
Well, we are, it is the job that is un siège éjectable. I don't know how we...
Yeah, ejectable chair or whatever. But hold on. We've just spent the last hour talking about France is the most social country in the world and that everyone's protected and your rights and na. It is medieval to fire someone from one minute to the next. But hold on. Did you get redundancy payment or like some sort of payout, or do you got some salary?
Unemployment fees, just the basic.
CPI, or you got
they didn't write a check for me. No.
But hold on, this is not supposed to happen in France. This is the whole point.
Yes, it is. I mean, I got the basic legal rights. So I had some vacation that I didn't take. So they paid those days and that's it. It's not about money. It's not.
I know it's not about money, but I know it's not about money.
I didn't care for the check. It wouldn't change anything if they had given me.
I know, but hold on. But no, it's not about that. It's about the fact that this isn't supposed to happen.
No, it's not supposed to happen, but it did. And there's nothing I can do on the legal point of view because, there is a motive in France for those jobs, chief of staff. You just have to say that the French legal term is rupture de confiance.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so it said in your contract you can be fired for rupture de confiance.
It's the law, really, because it's a derogatory status to be a chief of staff. For a very basic reason that, there is an election and you're going to change your staff. The cabinet is going to change.
Right.
And so you
need to be able to drop people.
You need to be able to fire people. And that's
right. So
reasonable, really. That's reasonable on the principle.
Right. So it's a specific type of contract?
Yes, it is.
Right. Okay.
It is. So I got
tied to political mandates. Okay.
And she never even addressed the actual conversation. And she ended up telling me something that is the most, sad thing, maybe from a very smart woman, because that she is. She said, Alexa, I do believe that, how did you say? In French, she said, les hommes sont des femmes comme les autres. Like, men are women like any other. And I was like, and I left the room saying, yeah, so go say that to Afghan women. Thank you. goodbye. And I just grabbed my stuff and I was out. And it was the best thing to do because I was not about to insult and to scream and
But I mean, also, if somebody says that, you're not dealing with a normal conversationalist. Like, you're not in a normal circumstance there. There's no point coming out with your stats and your data and your facts and your...
It's not normal. It's not a regular situation.
No.
It's not a regular situation, a legal point of view. It would have cost me too much money that I don't have, by the way, to go to court. And I did not have also the legal basis.
Right. So you didn't have the legal basis, but you could have, in theory, I'm not saying you should, I'm just working it out in my head. In theory, you could have had a belief discrimination thing or a discrimination.
I could have made a shitstorm.
You could have made a shitstorm. But the important question is, are there enough TERFs on your side in France to raise the money?
Probably?
Because I don't get that impression about France. I don't move in the same
circles. Got the money.
No, she says other things. Dora Michaux, I was thinking Marguerite Starr.
I'm waiting for the court's decision actually in May. So
yes,
she did, and she got the best legal team.
Did she get that? Not that I want to go into the details and jeopardize any of their situations or whatever, but did they get money from particular organizations or was it all crowdfunding?
Oh, it was individuals. She opened a
very good
thing.
Right, and she had enough.
But she was already kind of famous.
Yes, she had a following. Yeah.
I'm just me.
But so, in theory, if you were to be able to raise enough money, would you kick up a shitstorm or would you just want a job and just be normal now?
So the reason why also, the fact that I didn't go to court was not only about money. Mm-hmm. It was about money, partly, but the second reason is I don't think I had legal basis. It was just too thin for me to do anything. So that's very counterproductive, I think, to go to court.
Yeah, if you don't think you're going to win.
It's not a good thing for the cause, really. If you go to court, make sure you can win or you don't.
Or you can make it worse.
And these guys are smart. They're not stupid. They make sure they're acting wisely.
You mean your employer who fires you?
No, the other, I'm not going to say the words. The guy who...
The activists.
Yeah.
Well, your case would have been against your employer or against this asshole?
Against my employer, I had nothing.
Yeah.
But she would have been called to testify.
Right.
And that's the third part. I do not want to hurt her.
Oh. Because you like her politics and she's doing a good job for the time.
Because it's not about liking. She's good. And we do not have enough good politicians able to act elected as women in France. And also, she is just like so many people. She has been coerced into not even wondering. I think she's a good person. I don't think she means ill.
But she knows you on a very personal level, on an intimate level. Does she think you're a bad person? She must know you're not.
No, she doesn't, but she had an election coming up within 6 months.
Right. So she doesn't really care about you. You're unemployed now.
She's not herself.
You're unemployed and almost...
No, she doesn't care about that. Of course she doesn't give a shit. She is a politician. I mean, you must, know how these people are. Weird animals.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you're not going to go the legal route.
Ego, and she's a human being, so lots of ego.
So you're not going to do anything about her or this other guy?
I can't do anything about him. If I could, I would have, really. I mean, I think I heard about someone suing him. I will offer my testimony.
Like a defamation type thing or reputational...
Yeah. I will offer my testimony. Definitely.
Right.
I will try.
So you seem like you'd be a real good public TERF, like a figurehead for a movement in France. Because
but I can't afford it. That's the thing. I would have to.
Right.
I can't afford it.
Let's get there in a second. But what I've always noticed is that you've got this huge undercurrent of women in every country. And all we need is one woman to step forward and be the one who'll go in front of the camera or host the thing or, not do all the monkey work in the background because there's loads of women for that. But
And I like
in
to do the
Belgium.
nasty work, by the way. I'm not, I'm
But
not
would
a
you do this?
politician because the ego knows its place in me. That's also something.
I'm a backroom gal also.
Yeah, me
But
too.
do you I'm quite okay sitting here and being on camera in my attic, but I would never do that public facing stuff. Well, I suppose I was kind of hidden before, but now I'm out because I've been fired and my name's going to come out. But the problem we've always had in Belgium is that we've got plenty of TERFs behind the scenes, but there was never one who was willing to be on camera.
Yep.
Every country, and if you notice, every country only really has one. Like in Ireland, we had the Countess Alicia de Bruin. She came forward. In the UK, it was Kelly J. Keane was on her own for quite a while. In the Netherlands,
as well.
JK is just like a epic
savior, whatever. We need to actually put her on a.
Yeah, we'll put her on a statue. I hope we will. But it's difficult to have, like in Germany you had Rona, and then in Austria you had this Donna, and then now there's Faika. But like you really have
in the European scale, which is great.
Too. But we had then Marguerite Stern and Dora Mutu, but they're not very.
Right now, they're actually they went far in the right, far.
They have those politics which don't appeal to everyone, and you're much more neutral, so that's great. They also have their own thing going on. They have their business.
There's an agenda. There is an agenda.
They have their thing.
They have a right to. I mean, I'm not. But the problem is that the only women who actually did speak in front of cameras and, are far right.
Yes. So that's why it's very valuable to have someone who is more normie.
Yeah, but I don't get published when I send novels. I sent actually a text, like an open tribune to the press when I got fired, and it was balanced.
Mm-hmm. Did they publish?
Because I want to be balanced. It did not get published. No way. They don't want to hear. So I would have taken up that role, not about my ego, because honestly, I hate to see myself on a screen, and I hate to hear my voice in a mic, really. But because
I think you look and sound great. I think you look and sound like you're made for the screen. I thought you were. I was like, she's real all she'll do this job.
Thank you. But I hate it. Anyways, but it's all, it's all personal bullshit. I like to be, in the background.
Right. I understand. But
I would have done it if they had opened the door for me to do it.
Well, hold on. Because we're talking about one opinion piece that didn't get published and maybe a few other little attempts. But, the reality of our situation is we have to work around those mainstream outlets. We can't depend on them. Even, in Belgium, we had a little cottage industry of getting opinion pieces published in La Libre for a few months there, myself and a few other TERFs. And now they've just told us basically to go away and leave them alone. So we got like 4 pieces in the country's biggest paper. It didn't change anything. So, I mean, we have to work around it. I've just sent my first TERF newsletter today, my new business. You saw it, yeah. And this is it for me now. I'm going to burn every bridge. I'm going to destroy it. And my next stop is working in Zara. Like, that's just where I'm going to go from here if this doesn't work out. Because, I mean, I can never go back to being a normal person, because a normal person who gets... Well, I mean, I'll never be able to go get a job in a normal place, because my first thing I'll do is be like checking out the toilet single sex policy, and then just like, you know what I mean?
I actually don't send resumes to job offers that go like for 3 paragraphs of being inclusive.
Yeah, no.
Or if you ask me what my gender is, fuck you.
Do they do that? Because they do that in Belgium, NFX.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you just stay away from those. But they all have it, because anyone at least who has any sort of state subsidies has to do it. And all the corporates are all on the train as well. So it's like, but anyway, yeah, it's just like France has...
I will be quiet in a professional thing, because I will, signing a contract and committing to something, I'm going to stand by my word. But no one can ask me on the outside to shut the fuck up, because it's not fair. Yeah. Because I'm not insulting anyone. I'm not depriving anyone from anything, because I'm not disrespecting any fundamental rights for anyone.
But anyone who has a business that has any kind of diversity stuff is going to see you as just a big trouble and not go near you.
Yes, I'm doomed. I'm fucked.
So, I mean, like...
Thank you for that beacon of optimism.
Well, I mean, you are where the UK, you represent where the UK was in 2019. That's where France is. It's going to take a few more years, but we will get there. You're like, fuck it, I'm just going to snap and get there.
Just starve in the meantime, though.
Okay, we need to do a second round of this so that we can do my story, but because we're already on an hour and a half. But all right, let me just wrap up what exactly happened to you then. I just want some details, please, if you don't mind. This guy, he's not from near where you are. He's not implicated in your town or in your city. He's nothing to do with that. Did he round up some people to contact your boss, you think? Did he contact some associations?
Contacted.
How many? Do you know how many?
She had, to my knowledge, less than 5 messages.
Right. And that was enough for her.
To my knowledge, so, you know.
Right. And what did your colleagues say when this was happening in those 3 days? Nothing.
I don't think they knew.
Is your job mostly a laptop at home job, or are you in the office?
Oh, in the office. But I don't think they knew. It was, during the summer break, went to shit.
Okay. And hold on, did they contact you afterwards to ask you how you were doing?
A few did, to tell me that they were really sorry and that it was fucked up because, some people liked me in that place, really. I'm a hard-working, tough cookie. So I think people did like me.
Do you know if any of them were TERFy?
I think some of them are and will never say so.
Right.
Will never admit because it's too dangerous.
Mm-hmm. They don't want to be...
I even think I convinced a few of them before when I was there with sound, pragmatic conversations. Like, raising facts, like in sports, for example. Like, okay, so this person who says she is a woman, I would not even say he, I would say she, That's how cautious I am.
Wow.
Really. I'm paying attention to details in order to be able to have the conversation, in order to make sure the door doesn't close.
Yes.
Really, I am paying attention. So she was ranked like 900 nationally before transiting. And after that, she was like 8th worldwide, Can you explain that? And then there were questions like, maybe they changed the training. Nope, I checked.
No. Okay, so people were...
Maybe they did that. Nope, I checked. So can you explain that? And that's how I think I convinced a few people, a few women, or if I did not convince them, the doubt was there.
The seed was planted.
Yes, exactly. Like, question the fucking thing.
But you see what you said there about surely the training was adapted or should have. You see, that's people trying to see if the system, surely the system is good, the system is correct, or maybe there's a glitch in the system and we just haven't noticed or something. It's this inability to say that actually, no, there's actually something really wrong going on here, because that's really destabilizing for people. People don't want to believe that the institutions have gone so rotten.
Yes, and they're refusing to see it in good faith, I think.
Yeah, because what do we do if we wake up they're like us? I wake up every morning with my heart beating through my chest because I've lost my job. I got 0 notice. I got 0 holiday pay. I got 0. One morning and I woke up and I have nothing. And so it's like nobody wants to have that feeling of being terrified and having no stability and no job and no protection. And that's sort of what it's like when you find out that the institutions don't know what they're doing, or that they've been corrupted, or that, you feel completely adrift and scared. And that's how I feel all the time. I feel like, oh my God, the European Union is like completely riddled with this ideology and completely corrupt, and I think all the people around me.
Which is, by the way, a catastrophe. And I'm saying that as a strong advocate for Europe. I do love Europe.
Me too.
Because it's 80 years of peace between us people. And it's far from being perfect. But I think we're working on something that is major. It is an unbelievable project to be all of us so different with different languages, cultures, everything. And to say we're not going to kill each other anymore and we're going to find a way to get along and be together. I think that's a mad, beautiful thing.
And it would be a terrible shame to destroy it for these stupid fucking things like this. Because
exactly. And we could be so strong. We could be actually a human experience, something that would set some basis for the rest of humanity for centuries if we survive and don't fuck up the planet. You know?
I think
that's what's really making me crazy is we're going to destroy all those beautiful things that we've made. And they are all beautiful, really. It's so ambitious and so grand. And we're destroying it. For what? For a bunch of men who are having their tantrum, middle-age crisis, or what the fuck do I call it?
It's, people don't want to admit that social things like this, like the trans question or the sex education in school, that's a little bit extreme in some cases.
Yes, and I am also pro-sex education in school, but not to tell people that you can change sex.
Yeah,
kids.
It's so bad in Belgium. There's like 50 or 60 mentions of gender identity in this booklet for kids in school in Belgium. So like those people care so much about their kids. Everyone's like, oh, it's the bread and butter issues. It's about the economy. It's about the cost of petrol. It's about the war. It's like, yeah, it is. And then they'll downplay this issue because they're like, oh, that's women's bullshit. We don't care about that. It's like, do you realize how much people care about sending their depressed children into school sometimes, or autistic children or disabled children or whatever into school, and their heads being filled up with this shit? And it's real denigrating, because I don't know if you got that when you tried to write to the press about your situation, but often I'll cyberbully editors online and say, you're not paying attention to this issue, but it's really important. And they're like, oh, you and your stupid little women's issue, And it's like, right, you say that because you're a coward and you're trying to figure out a way to make me feel stupid and go away and leave you alone. But people really care about this shit. And that's why we're getting these right-wing nut jobs, because the right-wing nut jobs are ready to say a man is a man and a woman is a woman.
Exactly.
For their own reasons.
And it's a trap. It's a fucking trap. For women, it is a fucking trap. And for gay and lesbians, even worse.
I know.
It's a trap.
It's awful.
And how they are manipulating words like conversion therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
Telling a kid that he was born in or she was born in the wrong body, it is conversion therapy.
Yeah.
It is conversion therapy.
And nobody will know, like, these debates about conversion therapy bans are going on all the time, and nobody ever says what the contention is, what the problem is with it. It's not about we don't want gay kids to be.
I have decided to call them transition therapy.
Transition therapy, yeah. We should stop using their words. Yeah,
exactly. I'm not using their words anymore. I know what conversion therapy is, and this is not it. It is transition therapy.
So it sounds to me, actually, like you would probably very much suit a job in politics in the background or whatever. I'm not trying to get you a job here, but I'm just sort of thinking, like, I feel kind of guilty because I'm like, please talk to me and tell me your story, and I'm going to put it online and I'm going to make it harder for you to get a job. But I mean, people need people like you, but there's just not
so much. My ego needs that, really, what you're saying then.
There you go. They need you. You're very much needed. I'll tell you anytime I want. They'll text
me I need it
in the middle of the night. But like people who are principled, okay, maybe that's not exactly what everyone is, but people who feel strongly about things and who'll do them for the sake of doing them because they care about it. That's a huge thing. That a lot of I think the situation is going to change dramatically in the coming years, and you'll be fine. But you'll probably not be fine for a year or two. But give it 18 months.
I can't. I need a job. I can't afford.
You can't make it
6 months left before nothing comes in.
Right. Well, okay.
And not a lot comes in
right now.
At least I can pay for the bills.
And when you type your name into Google, is it like transphobe? No.
There was, but very briefly. really. And I made sure to communicate in a very careful way. Again, I take care of my words, of, how I say things. Because I also, and it's not only to protect myself, actually, it's also about the topic. We need to show that this is not about phobia.
Mm-hmm.
It is about fundamental rights. It's about basic things.
And you're also showing that it's possible to have these discussions while remaining extremely respectful of all sides. It's not a shit flinging contest. I do the shit flinging contest because I like flinging shit, but it's not necessary.
No,
there are plenty of people look at. Yeah,
you can if you want to, and whatever, do whatever you want to do. I think at least for myself, I am choosing, and if you look at all my tweets, it's very clear. I am not insulting people. I'm not going into slurs. I'm paying attention to my posture, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it is a serious thing. And if we want a chance to have our message passed on, we need to make it hearable, acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. And that sometimes requires using the stupid pronouns and all that stuff. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm really glad
do what's necessary. And while I do it, I make it clear that I'm being polite.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not believing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm being polite for the sake of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. No,
because the conversation matters more than me.
The ability to have the conversation matters more. I try to do that and then I veer off into trash talk very quickly. So I just don't do that anymore. I'm just like, right, look, I don't believe men can be women. They're all a bunch of trannies. They've got a fetish.
And I understand that because, the trash talk is in my head.
Yeah.
No.
You need to just keep it in there for 18 more months.
It's not like I never think you crazy motherfucker. I do. I'm teasing and I'm keeping quiet. And I'm okay, you don't want anyone to talk to you like this? Don't go and do it and try to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, it's all about a conversation.
Have you got any interviews lined up?
No.
Nothing. Okay.
No. But again, I'm 62, which means I'm more than a 25.
Right. Yeah.
Of course I am. Although I'm not that expensive, really. I don't care for money. I care for paying my bills and, having a normal life. That's it. And I live in Paris, so everything is kind of really expensive.
You know what I always thought I would do if I ever got fired and was unhireable? So I have been fired and I am unhireable because I think I've been blacklisted in a way that I will describe to you the next time we talk. I was like, I'll just move to another country because nobody will Google me or everything will be fine. So I always thought that, but then in practical terms, my kids are in school and all that stuff. It's not really practical. But because everything's online now, you could, in theory, get a job working in some other country where they don't know the context.
I don't want to do that right now. I've done that 3 times before. Huh?
Right. But I mean, online, it expands your market.
I was in Portugal, so it's not like I don't know how to, pack your stuff and try something else elsewhere. It's not the point.
And it's not like we can go get asylum in Hungary now ever since yesterday. I always thought if the worst comes to the worst, I'll get TERF asylum.
I'm being very cautious about that election. I think the enthusiasm is a bit...
It's misplaced.
Yeah, I think the guy is very overrated.
Yeah.
On the topics that we care for, which is women's right.
Yeah.
I think he's going to stop being a rocking star, a rock star within 3 months. Yeah. And on Ukraine as well. And, he's not going to be a rock star for long. It's just that everyone was so fed up with Orban, rightfully.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But we're going to discover he's not such a hero.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm reading people who know the things because they're from there and etc. And they're very cautious.
Yeah.
And I
I
think,
noticed that too. I wrote about it in my new newsletter that I'm gonna mention here in case anybody wants to sign up to it. So
Yep.
I have this new newsletter.
should.
I think you should do the same, but for France. While you're hanging around, gather the news of France and send it around, because if there's enough people to crowdfund the court cases of Dora and Marguerite, there are enough people that are interested in this story. Am I right in what's happening? So why not compile 10 stories every week or every couple of weeks and send it out and see if people will subscribe? The media is not going to do it. We have to find a way to bypass them, and we want people to know about this stuff. So, I mean, that's what I'm doing now because I don't know what else to do.
I know. And then there's the personality and ego. And do I want to put myself out there? Because, it's always also the one question I have been asked when I got fired. Oh, you so desperately want to exist. And it's not the point. It's so not the point. Please. I mean, I'm
What
going
do they mean by that? Like you want to be a star?
to forget about my existence, and it's okay. I do not care.
So people think you're trying to get like attention for yourself?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
There are people probably who think that I'm like the basic attention whore.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry, but no. I actually don't like people. I'm fine staying at my place for 3 days in a row, not talking to anyone. I'm good with that. I'm not a people's person whatsoever. Really.
Okay, well, if there's anybody listening to this who might have a job for Alexa to tide her over until she's accepted back into polite society, me too, Diane.
I'm a mean pastry cook.
Chef. Okay.
Yes. For the Fridays or whatever in the office.
I think the Moroccan bakery on my street in Brussels might need somebody to make.
Yeah.
If you would have done this,
I'm the queen of that.
Okay, right. Well, let's wrap it up because it's an hour and 50 minutes.
It's like
let's
ages.
put this there. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but the Fire TERF movement is FTM, which I thought was funny. FTM.
I like that.
The mail.
But I'm going to
wonder if you noticed.
Because really, I didn't know there was a movement.
No, there's not. No, there's not. It started today. This is it. It's our first meeting.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
My God, we're starting a movement. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it. Why not? Like we know a few in Europe. I know a few in Europe. I know plenty in the UK. And
I put it together. Yes, definitely. Yeah. That's a great idea.
It's a growing movement. Yeah. Let's do it.
So we're starting a thing. Okay, good. Let's go.
Nice. I hope that gives you hope for the day. All right. I shall talk to you soon. We'll set up a second part and we'll talk about my disgraceful.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear about that.
Booting from the European Commission. Okay, Alexa. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I wish you all the courage going forward until we speak again.
Yes.
Ciao.
Bye.
If you like my work, you can subscribe to my newsletter by going to peaked.substack.com and taking out a paid subscription.